She had the kind of beauty that didn't need words. Just one look, and the cameras fell in love. Angela Lindvall wasn't chasing fame. Fame chased her. One moment, she was the face of Chanel, Dior, and Victoria's Secret. The next, gone. No goodbye post, no runway farewell, just silence. People whispered, was it a burnout, a breakdown, or something worse? But Angela didn't leave in a storm. She walked away in peace. She wasn't broken. She was done. And what she chose next wasn't just unexpected. It was everything the fashion world couldn't understand. This is the story of the supermodel who had it all and said no more. Angela Lindvall wasn't born in fashion. She was born in the quiet green town of Midwest City, Oklahoma, in 1979. Later, she grew up in Lee's Summit, Missouri, a place with wide skies and long roads. Her childhood wasn't filled with designer clothes or makeup tutorials. It was filled with dirt trails, wildflowers, and tree houses. Angela loved the outdoors. She built forts in the woods, climbed trees, rode her bike for hours until the sun went down. Her mother was a medical technologist. Her father, a pharmacist. They weren't part of any fashion scene. And Angela? She didn't even think she was pretty. She once said, I was this really tall, really skinny, awkward girl with braces.
I did a fashion show in in Kansas City, and agents from all over came and watched and wanted me to come to New York. At this time I was 14. And then I went to New York.
But the world saw something else. At age 14, her older sister convinced her to try modeling. She went to a local fashion show in Kansas City, and that's where a scout spotted her. Just like that, the small-town girl became a new face in the world of high fashion. Angela didn't plan it. She didn't dream of being a model. But opportunity knocked, and she answered. By the time she was 17, Angela had moved to New York. She was still a teenager, living alone, navigating an adult world filled with stylists, agents, photographers, and contracts.
I was only 17, first time I had a big job, and there was no way I was gonna make it to the shoot, so they had to send me a helicopter, and I was so embarrassed. I was like, these guys are gonna think I'm a full-on diva.
Soon, she was walking for Prada, Chanel, and Louis Vuitton. Her face was everywhere, on the covers of Vogue, Elle, and Harper's Bazaar. She had the kind of beauty that didn't need editing: porcelain skin, bright blue eyes, and an ethereal glow that looked like it came from within. She wasn't the loudest model. She wasn't a party girl. But designers loved her calm, earthy energy. Her look was pure, fresh, real. She looked like she had just walked out of a fairy tale and into a photo shoot. Her rise was fast, almost too fast. Angela became one of the top models of the early 2000s. In 2001 alone, she appeared on the cover of Vogue 3 times. She was everywhere.
Because 10 years later, I worked for Prada 3 seasons in a row.
She did Victoria's Secret shows. She starred in Calvin Klein campaigns. She walked in Milan, Paris, and New York, all in one season. She worked with top photographers like Steven Meisel and Mario Testino. She became the face of campaigns for Chanel, Dior, Gucci, and Jill Sander. She was called the American beauty of her generation. But behind the perfect photos and flashing lights, Angela was struggling. The modeling world isn't as glamorous as it looks. The early mornings, the constant travel, the pressure to be thin, the silence when you say no. There are no sick days, no real breaks, and you're expected to smile through it all. Angela began to see the cracks. I never wanted to be something I wasn't, she said, but the industry wants to mold you. At one point, she stopped eating properly. She became too thin, even for herself. I looked in the mirror and thought, I don't recognize this person. Fashion loved her body, but it didn't love her soul. She felt used, controlled. There was a moment backstage at a major show, surrounded by noise, makeup, and chaos, where she realized she didn't feel like a human anymore. She felt like a product. There were stylists who didn't ask before changing her look, designers who made comments about her body as if she weren't in the room, expectations that kept piling on: be thinner, be cooler, be different, but not too different. She wasn't breaking down, but the pressure was cracking something inside her.
I could work my whole life away, you know, I could be 25 and my career be over and not have anything to look back on.
That moment didn't break her. It woke her up. In 2006, tragedy hit. Angela's younger sister, Audrey, also a model, was killed in a motorcycle accident. It shattered her. "I just lost the desire to be in the public eye," Angela later shared. "It didn't matter anymore." The pain forced her to look at her life again, to ask questions no magazine cover could answer. Why was she in this world that didn't care when you broke down? What was all the fame for if it couldn't bring peace? For Angela, it wasn't just grief, it was clarity. So she left. Slowly. Quietly. Not with a press release, but with purpose.
I was at the height of my career.
Exactly.
I was pretty much told, like, you know, if you have this baby, then your career's going to be over.
Wow.
And I was like, okay, well, I guess my career's going to be over then.
Angela Lindvall stepped back from the catwalk. She turned down campaigns. She refused to be molded anymore. Instead of beauty ads, she started planting gardens. Instead of red carpets, she chose dirt trails. She moved to a farm in Topanga Canyon, California, grew her own food, raised her 2 sons surrounded by trees, animals, and open skies. She became an environmental activist, a meditation teacher, a health coach. In a world that praises fame, she chose freedom. In an industry that feeds on attention, she became invisible, on purpose. And it wasn't just a phase. She didn't disappear temporarily. She truly walked away and built a new life, one that had nothing to do with runways or spotlights. Angela didn't disappear because she failed. She disappeared because she evolved. She created Peace Begins in Me, a wellness platform that helps women reconnect with their bodies, nature, and inner peace. She became a certified Kundalini yoga teacher. She hosted retreats. She helped build eco-villages that focus on sustainable living.
I started a jewelry line with a company called Article 22 that takes shrapnel from war, landmines, and they melt it down and create jewelry. And I came across this company. I was like, what a beautiful concept to take something so negative and make it something beautiful. It's like an alchemy.
She even returned to modeling briefly on her terms. No pressure, no crash diets, just authenticity. "I'll do it if it aligns with my values," she said in one interview. "Otherwise, I'm out." "I used to sell fantasy," she said on stage. "Now I live in truth." She once stood under spotlights. Now she stands barefoot in the garden, and she's never been happier. Angela didn't burn out. She didn't collapse. She simply realized that being famous wasn't the same as being fulfilled. And instead of waiting for someone to save her, she saved herself. The fashion world barely noticed she was gone. Another season came. Another face replaced hers. But something was missing. Angela had a softness the industry rarely sees. A truth that couldn't be packaged. She was never just a model. She was a poet, a mother, a fighter for the planet. She wasn't trying to be remembered. She was trying to live.
What I'm gonna do when I leave here is drive back home and go to Taekwondo. I've been doing Taekwondo for many years, and I'm probably the world's longest yellow belt.
"I just want to be present," she said. That's all. No headlines, no scandals, just quiet strength. Maybe that's why her story matters so much. Because walking away from everything is harder than holding on. In a world that tells women to shine brighter, go harder, and never stop, Angela Lindvall did the opposite. She stepped back. She healed. She chose her own light. Angela Lindvall had it all: the covers, the contracts, the fame. And she gave it all up, not because she lost herself, but because she found something better. So maybe the real question isn't why she disappeared. Maybe the real question is, what would happen if more of us stopped chasing the spotlight and chose peace instead? Let us know in the comments.